Hey, it's Nina Lemtier here, the Nutrition Lifestyle Strategist. I hope you are well. We are on day 27 of the Fibroids Awareness live series. I've been doing an A to Z live series. We've run out of the letters of the alphabet now. So now I'm just freestyling for the remainder of the month. Let me know where you are, and if you've got any questions, I would love to try and answer them. So hi Dilly Wazaya, Party Planning 123, thanks for joining. So today I wanted to give you the two-step process that the liver goes through in the most simplest terms so that you get it. And you know, again, when your awareness is raised around something, you're able to make more intentional decisions and support your body better with what it needs, right? So that's what I'm going to break down. Hi Party Planning, where are you? Let me know where you are. So the liver, right? The liver plays such a key role, and when it is breaking down estrogen, right, it basically splits into two parts, and both parts are just as important as the other. So the first part is breaking down estrogen into like smaller pieces. Okay, so smaller pieces, and this the way you can support this stage is through eating regularly, eating cruciferous vegetables. There's compounds that help the liver break these estrogens down. I will get to the questions. I'll just finish explaining and then I'll get to the questions. Lovely, London. So that's the first step. So the way that you can support that step is to don't go long periods of time without eating, because that won't help the liver perform that step. And also just making sure you're having lots of water. This is key for both steps as well. Now, cruciferous vegetables are really, really helpful. Now, the second step is when the liver basically wants to wrap up the estrogen and send it out of the body. So it's in those smaller pieces that are easier and in the right safe form. So now it wants to wrap it up and send it out the body, and that's where fiber comes into play. And then things like magnesium is great, and of course water as well. So this will help with that stage 2. But what happens is, if you're not eating enough of the right foods, you know, cruciferous vegetables, lovely veggies, you know, to actually help with step 1 slows down, and then step 2 totally shuts down. And then what happens is that estrogen that was meant to be sent out of the body gets recycled back. And that's where you'll get symptoms like constipation. So you can really help your liver, right, by waking up in the morning. I did a post that was really popular, and I've been drinking this all day, and I love eating the cucumbers when I finish drinking this, and it tastes great. So this is a great way to support your liver. And just avoid any fizzy drinks. Just always try and think about infusing your system with amino acids, trace elements, mineral salts, and this will really help your liver do its job. Now, having said that, you can overdo it on the fiber, so make sure you're getting the right hydration in as well. So that's the two-step process to support your liver. And if you do that, if you're like really on it for a week, you'll notice a difference with your bowel movements, you'll notice a difference with your energy, like your body will respond super quick. Okay, now let's get into these questions. So what is good for 5 points, as I have 2, which is, okay, 5 fibroids, I'm assuming, as I have 2, which is 9 centimeters, which is very painful. Oh, sorry to hear that. So when you say what is good, do you mean like addressing the pain, right? First of all, you shouldn't be living with the pain. Like, you need to get it checked out. So when was your last appointment with your gynecologist? What is causing the pain? because that's not good, and it's not something you should just be living with, right? So it's important to know, because what can happen is pain could be happening for another reason, right? But you just attribute it to the fibroids because you figure they're big and it must be the fibroids. But it might not be. It might not be the fibroids that's causing the pain. So first of all, get that checked out, okay? And then once you're clear on what's causing the pain, then obviously you can really make a better informed decision. So that would be what I would say, party planning. Now, if you've clarified that, then we could talk from a point of, a holistic, what measures you could take in the holistic sense. But I always say, your medical guidance will always be first, because of course the holistic terrain can never replace your medical guidance. It's to assist and just give you more options, right? So once you get clarity on what's causing the pain, then you can now be much more concise with your next steps forward. That's what I would say. So just drop me a message if you want, more clarity. I do offer free clarity sessions as well, so we can, be more specific with what I would advise you. But sorry that you're in pain. Party planning. You eat fruits, fabulous. With fruits, you do have to be quite strategic as well, because there's fruits that are high in sugar and, not so high in fiber. So if you want really strategic guidance, my NourishHer app will really guide you with what foods to eat, what fruits to eat, what times, what combinations, again, so that you're just more strategic. If you want details of that, just drop me a message and I'll send you the details. You eat lots of fiber with fruit, but nothing happens. So something's off. It could be, there's an imbalance somewhere. I would need more information to help you with that. But what I will say is, once you start taking the right steps, it will get better. So send me a message. Let's talk in more detail, because if you're saying nothing happens, I'm presuming you're not doing a number 2. Is that right? You're not doing a number 2 easily? Are you constipated? Can you shrink your fibroids naturally? Yes, yes, you can. Obviously, all fibroids will respond differently, but generally, yes, you can. But again, it's about understanding your position and the variables that affect you, right? And I'd only be able to give you more guidance with more information. So just send me a message and we can discuss that. But absolutely, yes, fibroids aren't naturally growing. And if you're struggling to do a number 2, that's an indicator that your body, there is a struggle and there's an issue with how your body is processing certain hormones like estrogen, and that is having an impact. Because if you've got 9 centimeter fibroids and a couple of them, then there are other issues that's contributing to that. You can, I did, but didn't totally get rid of them. Oh, amazing, Tonally. Thank you for sharing that. Amazing. Congratulations. Well done. That's so inspiring to hear. Thank you for sharing that. So Tonally shrunk them naturally, but she didn't get rid of them. Yeah, so let's talk about the concept of getting rid of them. Fibroids, there are own cells, own tissues growing, right? So the concept of getting rid of them is, it's our cells. Can we get rid of our cells forever? No, our cells will always be there, right? But it's addressing the signaling to the tissue to grow the fibroid. So that's what Tonally has done, right? And her body's responded. And that's what's happened with myself and lots of women that I've worked with as well. Because again, when the body's in a balance and the ecosystem, so to speak, are communicating with each other, and there's balance and there's coordination and everything's working, then fibroids aren't growing, right? They're shrinking. and they're becoming less and less dominant in your body. So thank you for sharing. And there was another lady that was like, yeah, I'm shrinking them, and she commented on one of my posts. So it's happening, but it obviously, because different variables affect women differently, everybody's different. You're never going to hear your doctor say that yes you can, because they don't have enough data, right? They don't have that research. But are we going to sit here and wait for the research to come out before we try and help ourselves? No. So I'm definitely going to improve my quality of life without the research. Can I ask how you shrunk them? So again, it was about addressing the variables that are very multifaceted, right? So there's genetics that play a role. I'm the only one in my mum doesn't have fibroids, my sisters don't have fibroids. I'm just this anomaly that has fibroids. So I'm not genetically prone, but mine grew very big. And I worked with a gentleman called, his name is Patrick Holford. He's written over 50 books on nutrition, and his work is around cellular health. So what I did, party planning, is I boosted and supported my cellular health. And you do that through a number of pillars. And it's basically the pillars of balance. So hydration, obviously reducing toxicity in the cells, movement. So it's kind of basic principles, but modern life has shifted how we are functioning, basically. So it's about addressing that and bringing the body back to what it's accustomed with. So it's if you want more information on that, again, drop me a message. But it's really just supporting the body naturally to function and supporting improved cellular health. Because what are fibroids essentially? They're cellular mutations, aren't they? So when the cells are functioning better, then this is it. This is where the progress happens. Yeah, sure. I will share what I did, but it's quite extensive. I was newly married and wanted to have children. Oh, lovely. Yeah, that's lovely. How many kids have you got? I was very focused on having kids as well. I've got three kids. No, so I'm able to use the toilet. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So when you say nothing happens, what were you referring to then? I've got pain. Still got the pain. And I thought, right, okay. Yeah, so party planning, definitely investigate further as to what's causing the pain. So whether that would be the next step. Because once you can get clarity on that, then you've kind of got, what you're doing, right? But if you're not sure of what's causing the pain, you're just guessing. So investigate further and do further tests as well in regards to how your body's responding to certain foods as well. I know one of my clients would get very sharp pains. She had certain foods, for example. So that could be an avenue, but you can only really explore that once you've clarified that, okay, it's not being caused by XYZ. All right. I hope that helps. Thanks for your questions, and thanks for sharing. And it's really refreshing to hear, obviously, other women that are shrinking their fibroids, because it's like that question, is it possible? Well, they grew and they can equally shrink. And obviously it's something that we all will respond differently. But I think the main issue is if you've got symptoms and you obviously address that, then that's a big turning point. If you're asymptomatic, it's obviously going to be a bit more challenging because you've not got anything to go by. However, obviously you would just do checks and scans regularly. But yeah, I'm actually thinking of a lady that's she's a Pilates teacher, And she, for about 5 years, was going for scans. She's asymptomatic. She was going for scans every 6 months and being told that her fibroids were getting bigger, And she's obviously very fit, in good condition, because of what she does. She's a Pilates teacher. And once she started implementing what we were coaching in the Womb Care Network, which is the principles of cellular health and just the holistic framework, she went for a scan and was told they're shrinking. So, you know, you don't know what you don't know. She thought she was doing everything right, but there were steps that she implemented that made, you know, that was just a turning point for her. So I would say just be open to learning, right? And then obviously going on a new journey with your body, and just know that whatever you believe will happen, whatever you tell yourself. I'm a firm believer of mindset and the power of the mind. If you want to know more about that, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's got lots of research on the power of our minds and how that impacts our cellular behavior and how our bodies behave. So believe in what you want to see and keep saying it every day. All right, I'll leave you with that. Thank you for joining. I'll see you tomorrow with the next freestyle topic as we're coming to the end. But I'm going to still be going on about trying to raise awareness with fibroids. It's not something that I do lots of videos often, but I just thought I'd go live daily for the month of July. Thank you for joining. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.